You can find out what nurses from a lineup belong to that. And you could even befriend them on Facebook or LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm going to be working in your organization someday. Would you mind, if we had a phone interview someday, I'd like to just learn a little bit about your organization. I did that one time, and that works. It works really well. I didn't even realize that this personal branding thing was something that I was good at or that I had a passion for, but I was doing it all the time, and I didn't realize it. Now, I say this not to say like, ooh, look at me, look what I did. I say it to show you, like, I never looked for a job in the newspapers, ever. I've never had to do that. But it didn't even, like, I just kind of thought that everybody did that, because I was a networker. I just networked and met people, and you start asking people, who do you know in a lineup? I'm looking to be employed there, I want to work there. You start doing a little research, find out about the company, find something that you can connect your brand to their brand. Because then when you have a chance to talk to somebody, you can make an impression. Remember the guy that Dina talked about who hired the guy because he knew the name of his cat? It's those kind of things that you can start getting clear about. Yeah, what's your question? Okay, somebody works in the lineup. Do you know this girl? Okay, what's your name? Sarah beat Kelsey. Kelsey beat Sarah. I did not plant that. Wasn't that a good example? Now, Kels, do you see if you were just like, my target audience is healthcare workers. Do you see how that's not very targeted? That's more like out here. But now that you send a lineup, you've got a connection. So I'd be like, Sarah, when can I buy you lunch and let's talk? I want to interview and find out how the line is going. Who's the hiring manager? Can I come shadow you at work for a day? Could I meet this person? Would you please let me know when there's openings? You know what I'm saying? Get aggressive. Got to be aggressive. Any cheerleaders? I'm not a cheerleader, but do you remember that cheer from high school? Yeah. B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-S-I-B-E. I seriously have never been a cheerleader. People ask me that, but no. Okay, so your brand community. These are just some of the people as I was brainstorming. So you, of course, it's you. Your teachers are your brand community. Your family, your friends, peers. Peers, I describe peers, peers can mean a lot of things, but in this context it means the people who have the jobs that you want. Sarah. Sarah is a great peer in your brand community. Because she works someplace that you work. Now, she might not even want the job. Now you might even get more specific and say, I want to be a Belay. What do you want to do there? What department do you want to work in? Do you want to work in mental health, or do you want to work in, like, the Nike? Do you want to work, get clear. And you know what? The thing is, you can pick. And if you walk in and you interview and you say to somebody, here's what I really love. I love babies. I want to work in Nike with a lineup. Now, they might say, well, sweetie, we don't have an opening there, but how about if you start over here in urgent care, and we can get you there. But I am much more excited about hiring you, aren't you, Mary? Than that person who's like this. Well, I was going to work in healthcare. That's not that compelling and interesting. You don't have much of a story, right? Are you guys getting excited about this? I am. I want to hear about your target audiences. Your career counselors are your target audience. Tell them what you want to do. I bet you between Dina and Diane and Mary and Carrie that one of them knows somebody who works in a lineup. I'm just going to guess. Yeah, Carrie's shaking her head. There you go. Did you know that Kelsey wanted to work in a lineup? Nope. She did not know that about you. This is such a good example. Okay. Hiring managers, industry associations, and then the world at large. But you want to get focused and make sure that you get in front of the people that are going to help you get what you want. It just pains me. I have like 17 nieces and nephews. And so many of them, when they don't hear me talk about this stuff, but, because they're like, what do you do exactly on that? But, they're just like, well, I don't know, I hope I can get a job somewhere that has, I don't know, I want maybe in the cities, I don't know. We're going to talk later about the 3 C's of branding. The 3 C's of branding. And one of them is clarity. If you walk away with anything tonight, get clear. Take the words, I don't know, out of my vocabulary. That will help get a job a lot faster. And even just get what you want in life. I can smell the horses over there. You guys get excited to eat? Okay. So, this is an example where you can start to What about the missions? What do you want the missions to be?
Well, they have missions that line up that I can relate to.
Okay.
Scholastica, we kind of weird.
Okay, so missions like a mission statement kind of thing. So you want to work in a place that has a strong mission. Yeah, that aligns with yours. That's good. That's what we're talking about. Then you can understand who your target audience is, right? So John, come on up for a minute. John's going to share what his goal is. John wants to be, what do you want to be, John?
I want to start my own business.
So you want to be a freelancer or an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur. So get more specific. What's your business going to be? What do you want to do?
Well, I thought about PC repair because that's kind of what I do around here, but it doesn't make sense to do PC repair because that's a commodity. We all do PC repair. A lot of people do that.
But you can start here at this place. You can start with that because we're not on like a personal brand statement right now. We're just going to be clear. So you want to be a PC repair. Let's use that.
Okay.
And you want to work in. Where do you want to work in?
I like working here. So I'm working at the college in Scholastica, and I like this.
Okay. So you already have a job here. So what? How about a goal of something that you don't have that you want?
Okay. Then what I want here is network security analyst.
So there we go. Now you're getting more. So you want to be a network security analyst, and you want to work at State Scholastica. And you could have to fill this in, but you're pretty specific already. You know the exact organization. So John, who is your target audience?
Lynn Hamry.
There you go. She is in the center of your audience. Does she know what you want?
She does.
Are you sure she knows what you want?
She knows what I want. She asked me.
Okay, good. Now, that's great that she asked you, but what I'm going to double down dare you is don't wait for somebody to ask you. Think of that. Now, I'm not talking about. Thank you, that was good. Yeah, we're done. I just want to kind of articulate the target audience. Well, let's ask you one more thing. Who influences Lynn Hamry? What's some target audiences off of that? The next ring.
Right now, I think the person who would influence Lynn with that is the person who also has the same job here right now.
Okay, so that's another person. So then you start to just think about all of your rings. Now those are people, if I were you, that I could have lunch with. There's another great book out there about networking called Never Eat Alone. Don't waste a meal eating alone. Now I know sometimes you like to recharge your batteries and you want to eat alone. But the concept is communicate, get to know people, build relationships. That would be a good person to bring a cookie to and say, hey, this is what I'm doing and I'm pretty excited about it. Or even say, what do you think I should be working on if I want that job? Because I want to make sure that I'm doing what you think is right. I asked that of somebody one time, and I thought that I should be reading up on the fashion trends. I got a job as a wardrobe coordinator when what's now Macy's, at the time it was called Dayton's. And I thought for sure I should be reading fashion magazines and studying the trends when I wanted that job. But you know what? The founder of the organization that I was going to work for said, you should be getting clients. You should be building up a client base. So when you get to this job, you've got a client base. I had no idea. So you know what I started doing? I was working just on the floor at Dayton's. And I would, as I started to meet people in St. Paul, I'd say, you know what? I'm going to be a wardrobe coordinator. Actually, I said I already am. And I would just like to call you when some of your favorite outfits come in and if something goes on sale. So I started to build my clientele. Now, I wouldn't have known that if I wouldn't have asked that question. I would have been looking at, Vogue. And that's not helping me get any closer to my goals. So I had to check that out. Jen, are you ready to be an example and share what your goal is?
Am I going second or?
He was first. You're second. Are you ready? Okay. So Jen, what's your goal? You can stand up. Standing up is great. It builds confidence. What do you want to be, Jen?
I want to.
Now get specific.
Okay, I would like to minor in communications and major in sports medicine.
Jen, I did not ask you what you want to major and minor in. I asked you, what do you want to be? What do you want? What's the job that you want? What would you like to do with that?
I would want a job where I can reach out, help others, and to be able to get them to have the love for sports and being healthy lifestyle like I have. And
So what's a job that you could have that would help you do that? What's one option? And you guys can shout out if you can help her.
I would like to either be some kind of person who puts together like
That's okay.
puts together like meal plans and even help out like children and stuff where
Like a
maybe
nutritionist or a
obese.
dietitian kind of thing? Okay. So there we go. There's a start. Now, Jen, it's okay. Jen was like, I don't know what I want to be. This is going to be hard. But you know what? That's so good because can you all relate to her a little bit in some way? Raise your hand. Give her some love. Show her that you can relate. There we go. So, but you want to be a nutritionist. And you want to work in?
Like an organization.
Like what? Where geographically do you want to work?
Like a place.
No, like, yeah, like a specific place. Like, do you want to work for a Fortune 500 company or do you want to work in Seattle, Washington? What, just like think about your dreams and hopes. Where does Jen Scott want to work? Where do you want to be in?
Well, I really love Minnesota, and I love being more up north and stuff. Duluth, I really like this.
Okay, so you want to work in the Northland. I want to be a nutritionist and I want to work in the Northland at an organization that is?
Like an organization.
What does the organization need to be for you? What's a trait that you want the organization that you work at to be? Because I want you to think about, you're not worrying about who wants you. You want to worry about who do you want to be with? Who do you want to work for?
I want to work for the community.
An organization, though, that what? What's going to be important at the organization? Are they, like Kelsey here wanted an organization that had a strong mission. Or you might want an organization that
I want one that's like uplifting and that it can inspire others.
uplifting and inspiring. Now you're getting somewhere. How's this feeling? Getting a little hot? Like, whoa! I'm naming it. Okay, so if you want to be in the Northland, and what should we say, dietitian or nutritionist?
Probably nutrition.
Okay, a nutritionist in the Northland at an organization that is uplifting. Who might your target audience be?
It could be teenagers, and then it could also even go all the way up to like middle-aged people.
Okay, this is a good example. Jen, teenagers are not going to hire you. Now, what we're thinking about is who could you be networking with? Who's your brand community target audience? Because who can help you get a job in the Northland at an organization that's uplifting as a nutritionist?
Maybe like a fitness place.
Fitness place, that might be a good example. That would be one place to start, yeah. The YMCA.
The hospitals.
The hospitals. So if you said hospitals and a fitness place and picked one, like you could say, there's a place called Center for Personal Fitness, or there's the Burns Health and Wellness Center, there's the YMCA, there's a kettlebell gym. So you could start to say, okay, well, which one of those resonate with me most? And then maybe you get an internship there, and maybe you volunteer there. You start going there. You start learning who the employees are and connecting with them. Is this making sense?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I want to hear from a couple people. Thanks, volunteers. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you. Thanks for kind of sitting in the hot seat. I know. Was that hard? Was it hard? Helpful?
Yeah.
How was it helpful?
I don't know, I guess I was always kind of the person, how you were saying before, that people would ask what I want to be, I would list like 10 different things and be like, maybe I'll go here, and then after that maybe do this.
Right.
One of this, but I don't know, it's more I think to just like choose one and like
Focus on it, right? Singleness of purpose. Yeah. And if you experiment in it for a while, Jen, and you realize you don't love it, you can change. Remember what are R's of the 3 R's of goals? You can revise your goals. You might be like, okay, I don't like working in the Northland, or I don't want to work at a hospital. It's totally not where I want to be. I want to hear from a couple people about how this exercise was helpful. Yes. Yeah. Okay, she's starting out in graduate school.
But my brother-in-law, he's in a different field, but he got his master's in a different program and went to a headhunter, and I was wondering if that would ever be a part of it.
Yes, the headhunters, but only when you know the industry that you want to be in and you know what job you want. Because if you just say, again, I mean, you can go the other route. You can say, let me contact any headhunter and see if I can get a job. But that, you guys, get a job. I guarantee you, there's going to be a dissatisfaction level that you're going to have, probably shorter than earlier. And there might be this way too. Don't get me wrong. Life is a journey. You gotta make some mistakes. You can't be afraid to fail. You got to get out there and try it, but try it like fail big. Try it with like, you know, flying your good freak flag out there. Like fly the flag. Don't be afraid to make a stance and stand for something. So how is this exercise about target audience helpful as we kind of talked through Jen's target audience and John's? Let me hear a couple comments. Quickly, yeah.
I like the part about thinking what type of an organization you want to work for, because I guess I had never really thought about, like I'm going into nursing and I've never thought about what the hospital I want to work for stands for.
Right.
And there's so many differences and it just kind of helps you narrow help me narrow what I want to do.
Yeah, it really does. Like I have had friends that work at Essentia here in Duluth and friends that work at St. Luke's. And they are so different. The vibe and the cultures are different. So it's important for you to figure that out. Great comment. Thank you. One other comment. Yeah.
I was wondering how with target audience, like when you talk about narrowing it down to like a smaller group instead of being so broad, when you narrow it down, you're going to get closer to what you want to be at.
Yeah, and why is that good? What's good about that?
Because I think then you are going to end up living a happier life because like that's your dream. You're going to end up where you want to be more so than just anywhere.
Amen, sister. That is sweet words. I think our food is ready. Dina, would this be an okay time for us to break? Okay, Spin Doctor, let's play some music and take a little break. Thanks, you guys.
Okay, yeah, you Spin Doctor?
Or would that be?
I don't care what you do. Well, I mean, it's just, I don't mean that, like, meanly.
No, I know. I'm just saying. What do you think?
I think you're all right.
Hello. How do you get this?
There are some door prizes. Did you guys know that you're going to get some great door prizes tonight? I mean, how about an iPod Nano later at 8 o'clock? We're going to pick out an iPod Nano. Somebody's going to win an iPod Nano. I know, aren't you happy you came? I mean, it's good, but that's really cool, right? Okay, so Miss Dina, we have some door prizes right here. Do you want me to announce, Dina, or should I tell them where to look right now? Okay, so Jen and John, come on up here. Oh, Jen, where are you? She's at the potty.
She said she had a meeting or something, an emergency or something.
Well, we have a little gift for you because we just thank you for being courageous and getting up in front of your peers. Come on, a little gift card, mug. To the left.
He's got a $20 gift card to Target and a cup donated by the marketing department.
Nice.
And actually, you're welcome. And actually, at every table there are Target pens, but there should be one Scholastica pen. If you have the blue Scholastica pen, we have one of these cool mugs for you. So.
Raise your hand if you have the blue pen in your hand. Are they like insulated? Insulated cups. So Carrie and Dina are going to deliver those to you if you have the blue pen.
All you have to do is just stop by the check-in desk when you leave tonight. We'll give you your cup.
Okay. Awesome.
We have another No Jobs for Slobs, which is taking place in November. We have another free coupon, free admission coupon. Although I want to tell you this, because I notice we have these name tags, and there's a mix of whether people who put it on the right side or the left side. There is a proper side when you're networking.
Right side. Do you know why?
We're not gonna tell them.
Oh,
Because they have to sign up and go to No Jobs for Slobs to find out. No, really though. There is a
Right.
correct way. Okay, it's on the right side.
that is smart.
So you'll learn
So did you guys hear that? It's because when you go to shake hands, now give me a good handshake, you shake with your right hand in America, right? And your line of sight goes right there on the right hand. So if you have your name tag right here, it's easy. It's almost like a courtesy to the other person. It's easy to see it. Higher, I'd put it right here. And if it's on the other side, it's just, you can still see it, but it's just not in the line of sight. It's just easier if it's right there. Your eyes kind of go there when you shake hands. Yeah, that's a good handshake. That is important. Okay.
Is there a proper time for it to be on the left-hand side?
No.
That's just where I put it.
Never.
Never?
No. No proper time for that. Only proper time.
But waiting for the coupon, somebody has Moxie Coaching, Jen's business card on the bottom of their chair. Maybe they found it when they were looking for that.
Who's got it? Dee, 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 dee.
Pretty sure I put one on there.
Look on the other chairs at your table that are empty. We've got a winner over here. Oh. I don't know. He's gone. If you snooze, you lose, man. If you're gone, you're not going to get it. Okay. Good deal. Okay. That's at the end. Okay. So we're going to jump back in. And we're going to talk about your peers and competitors. So now that you know your target audience, this helps you drill down even a little bit more. So think about your current peers. They're people with similar goals as you. In this, again, there's different definitions to peers, but in the world of branding, we talk about that as people with similar goals and people that maybe have the job that you already want. The one thing that's important to think about this, and I've had a couple of gals talk to me about, I just wanted to be a nurse. I never thought about what hospital do I want to work for and what do I want that organization to stand for. If you just say, oh, I want to be a nurse somewhere. The thing about this is it's so easy to become an obedient cog. Seth Godin is another famous author. I just got to hear him speak with other of my fellow brand strategists from around the country. And Seth has published a few books. One's called Tribes. That's really good. Another one is called The Dip. Another one just came out is called Poke the Box. And if you guys don't know him now, you will eventually as you probably get out into your careers. I'm sure Mary and some of these gals have heard of Seth Godin. He's got one of the best blogs on the internet. He's known as I think probably one of the top 50 bloggers in the whole world. And he talked about this concept of being an obedient cog. And do you guys get what I mean when I say obedient cog? It's just like somebody that is no different than their peers. They don't stand out in the crowd. They don't care to. They're just going to work, punching in, punching out. Going in, punching out. They're not bringing their gifts and talents to the world as fully as they probably can because they probably don't even like their job anymore. They're probably burnt out. And an obedient cog, somebody that just wants the job at company, anywhere, those people are a dime a dozen. That's one of the reasons, what's one of the challenges with hiring? If you don't stand out, nobody's going to want to hire you. So it's really important to think about how do you want to differentiate yourself from your peers and your competitors. And to do that, you want to think about what is your offering? What's unique about you? Now, this is often a mindset shift. Like as I start talking to people about this, I've had a lot of interns over the years. I've worked with probably 7 interns at the different jobs I've had. I love working with college students. It's just an exciting time. But it is a mindset shift when you say, aren't you guys, I've heard from some of you, it bends your brain a little bit to think, I get to pick where I want to work? Well, that doesn't mean you're going to get a job there. But if you have that kind of focus, your chances are going to increase. So it's a mindset shift to think about what is it that you're going to do, not your title. It's how are you going to do what you're going to do that's going to be different from the other people that they're hiring from that, or that they're interviewing for that position. What makes you different? How do you deliver it? How do you deliver it that makes you different from your peers? How do you make it unique? We have a couple of examples here, okay? So here would be like a marketing account executive. They might answer and say, what do you do? Well, I project manage marketing programs. Do we have any marketing majors here? One, okay, that makes sense. People person, loves the party, that's good. You're on the right track, I would say. Now listen, or somebody could say, I build relationships between design firms and product managers to create powerful marketing materials. That person understands that it's not about managing projects, it's about building relationships, because you can't manage projects if you don't have good relationships, because people are going to be ticked off at you all the time, and you're not going to be able to get people to negotiate their needs and desires. She also might say something, or he might say, I create comprehensive marketing materials and programs that support salespeople to help them sell more. Now that person has just understood that revenue is important, and my job is to help people sell more. So I have to create comprehensive marketing materials. So I'm just not a project manager. Here's another example, okay, a web developer. Any IT guys in here? Web people, girls, guys? Yes, there we go. John, here you go. You could just say, I build websites. Now that's kind of a commodity. There's a million people that build websites. What if you say, I connect design, copy, and technology to wow customers and prospects? That's more interesting. So you guys starting to understand how this, you can kind of differentiate yourself and think about how do you want to do it that's unique? What's important to you? I use the latest technology and multimedia to keep my company's websites 2 steps ahead of the competitors. Now, if you're sitting in front of an employer and you answer like that, that's pretty powerful. Versus, I want to be a website developer for your company, sir. Having a brand, if you haven't heard me say this, and if you haven't gotten this message yet, having a brand is about taking a stand. Strong brands, and Dina, you and I have talked about this quite a bit, sometimes they offend people. They attract and repel at the same time. I am not the life coach for everybody. In fact, my old boss once said to me, Jen, your business is just booming, you're doing great. I got to tell you, though, I watched your video on your website, and I say some word on there that he doesn't like. It offended him. I was so happy when he told me it offended him. I was like, yes! You're not my target market. That's okay, and I'm glad it offends you. I'm glad you're calling me and telling. I think I say get a life. I help people get a life. It offended him. That's good, though, right? Because if that is interesting to you, like if you like that, you're probably more my target audience. But if you're very offended by me saying, I help you get a life, then there's a much better life coach for you, and I am not it. And that's okay. Because now that I'm clearer about that, I can focus on who I want to work with. Because if that statement gets your panties in a bundle, I probably don't want to work with you either. Or your boxers in a bundle or whatever. Okay? So, don't be neutral. Neutral is boring. Now, that doesn't mean your job should be to offend everybody you come into contact with, okay? We're talking, when I say strong brands offend, I don't mean they're offensive. I mean, not everybody's going to like what you say. There were a couple of professors that were like, branding? We're teaching students to brand themselves like a corporation would? That's ridiculous. You know what I said to Dina? Good. Catching their attention, that's good. It should ruffle their feathers a little bit. It is different. It's a mindset shift, for sure. So don't worry about offending some people, not everybody. Like-minded people will come to you. You will attract the people you want, right? Kelsey, as you talk about working for a company that has a mission, now I would challenge you to even get clear. What is it about their mission what do you want to have? What kind of a mission do you have? What's that problem in the world you want to see solved? Because there are probably some healthcare companies that are more in line with your mission. And as you start and go research their missions, you can be like, wow, I found this awesome company in Austin, Texas. That looks great. And actually, I like music, and that's a big music scene. So now I'm getting, now I'm like plugging into my passions. We talked about this before, focusing on what makes you strong and what makes you stand out. Now, there is this four-letter word, four-letter F word. There's four-letter F words that you should never have in your branding, okay? Fine. I do not just want you to be fine. We're anti-fine in branding, okay? Don't just say, my resume is fine, my brand is fine. Fine is mediocre. Fine doesn't stand for anything. The three other F words, who wants to guess what they are? That a brand should never be. Say it again. Yes, sister. Fake. This is not about being fake. If you have a fake brand, you will be sniffed out so fast, your head will spin. People will not. So that's why it's important to think about what you want to stand for. Whoops, let's come back. Fake was one. So it's fake. There it is, fine. Anti-fine. Fake, fine. Fear. Don't worry about the fear. Don't be afraid. Somebody said over here, it's kind of hard thinking about this. Like, I'm kind of stuck on this. What is my goal? Where do I want to work in an organization that? She said, it's kind of scary to say that. Could you guys agree with that? Somebody shout out and tell me what's scary about that. Or what's not scary about that? What do you think? Yeah? I said, this idea of, is it scary or not scary to name your goal and where you want to work and how you want to do it? I put you on the spot, don't worry, it's okay. You were probably thinking about it, right? The other four-letter word is, did I say it already? Fail. Don't be afraid to fail. In fact, I actually tell my kids, you need to fail. I want you to make mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not growing. If you play it safe, this is my comfort zone and that is where I live. I do not step outside my comfort zone. One of my clients once said, everything I want is probably right outside my comfort zone. I got to push myself out of there a little bit. If you're feeling uncomfortable, even in this, thinking about some of these answers, that's good. You should feel a little uncomfortable, because you know what? There's people in the world that tell you to be an obedient cog. Do it like this. Don't offend anybody. Say it like this. Do it like this. They don't help you extract who you are inside. And that's important. That's really what we want to see. So let's talk about the power of being positive and focusing on those brand attributes. You certainly, in order to be positive, you do need to be aware of your threats. What are your weaknesses? That will be exposed on your Reach 360. You can just anecdotally assess yourself. Where am I not very strong? So be aware of those. Work to diminish those weaknesses. Be open to opportunities. I commend you all for coming here tonight. I even talked to a group of ladies back there that were like, I said, what brought you here tonight? And they're like, honestly, we're not even sure what this is about. You know what, though? That's courage to come in here. Now, maybe it was even required for a class. I don't know. But you know what? Just stepping out and trying something new, that's important. It's important to do those things. So this is going to wrap up this piece about exuding, like how are we going to communicate. Now, your personal brand statement should not just be a template, but I did provide some templates in your book so you could get rolling with this, okay? So this is what you need to think about. I use my blank to blank for blank. So it's what do you do, who do you do it for, and how do you do it? I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples to get you rolling. I support, help, or lead blank by blank and blank. I leverage my blank, and I deliver blank to this blank. Now, your personal brand statement is all of these things that we've been working on, the internal perceptions, the external perceptions, sizzled down into a mission. It's like except not a mission statement, it's a brand statement. So I thought in order to help you get this a little bit more, I'll give you some examples. Before we do that, here are a few simple rules. 1 sentence long, maybe 2, but no more than 2. It should be really easy to understand, like your 12-year-old sister or brother or neighbor kid. They should be able to understand it. You should be able to recite it by memory. So this is my personal brand statement. Well, first, I'm going to tell you what my personal brand, my brand attributes are that came out as I did my work, okay? Now, I would not have described myself like this, okay? This is not a word that would have come up in my head, but people said I was embracing, driven, thought-provoking, inspiring. That's another one. I would not have said, I'm so inspiring. But it was helpful. It's important for me to own that because that's apparently what people experience when they talk to me. And so if I'm shy about that and I don't talk about that I am, give inspiring talks or somehow work that in and get comfortable sharing that, I'm not going to paint a very good picture of myself. I've also been described as contagious. I wouldn't necessarily have thought that. So this is what I came up with as my personal brand statement. Using my small-town charisma and street-smart moxie, I inspire and provoke entrepreneurial-minded leaders to be clear about and create a future distinct from their past. Now you guys might have a little bit better idea of what I do. Because if I just say I'm a life coach, do you get this? No, right? You just don't get it. One more quick, this is my brand teacher. His name is William Arruda. He wrote this book. This is a lot of what I'm talking about tonight is in here. And do we have some of those to give? No. No, okay, no worries. I might buy one for y'all and give it away afterwards. They said he was passionate, dynamic, forward-thinking, global. And this is William Arruda's personal brand statement. There he is. I'll see him this weekend in Vegas at a big conference. He uses his 20 years of branding expertise, passion for human potential, and his global passport to inspire entrepreneurs and executives around the world to build winning brands so they can succeed by being themselves. So that's personal brand statements. There's more about it in this book called Career Distinction that he wrote, and it's really good. I would encourage you to get it and read it. This is the test of a good brand statement, okay? Is it relevant? Is it intriguing? Is it easy to say, easy to understand? Is it consistent? Are you differentiated? Now, somebody asked me, is this more for just people that want to get their first job? No. Personal branding is for everybody that wants something that they don't have right now, like if you want a job. If you're in a career and you want a different job, John, that was your example. So if you have a job right now and you're maybe a grad student or something, this is really important because there are companies like PricewaterhouseCoopers and American Express, Microsoft, they bring people in to help brand their leaders. Because within organizations, they understand that it's important that, A, their leaders already have a personal brand, but that they want to help their leaders be on brand and be really consistent. And how do they align their brand with the company? So organizations are hiring people to help people do this. You use your personal brand statement with everyone. All the time. That helps you tell people what you do. It's what you share. You use it in your resume. You might not always use it word for word, but you use it with everyone. Okay, we're getting to the last phase. Express. Exude. How do you exude it? We just talked about how to express it, how to articulate it. Okay, so you should be on exude. It gets the message out. How do you communicate your message? So I mentioned this earlier, and we're going to talk about it here, the 3 C's of branding. What do you think they are? Who could name one? What? Clarity. That is right. You must be clear. You must be focused. Shane, you talked to me on the break, and you had a very clear idea of what you want in a job, right? Yes. Would you mind sharing it? It's risky, I know.
I want to be a film journalist and I want to work for Frontline.
That's specific. Film journalist, frontline. Now that is so much easier than, I'm not sure what I want to do. I think I want to work in the movie industry. And that probably, there was probably some day where Shane might have felt that way, but today he's really clear. So he can start, excuse me, networking and finding out who works at Frontline. Is there anybody in the room that knows anybody at Frontline? Where's Frontline's corporate headquarters? How do I connect with them? Who are the hiring managers? Shane's looking around like, yeah, anybody raising their hand? Who do you know that works at Frontline? Does anybody have a relative that works at Frontline? Those are the kind of questions you can start asking. And you could even be as bold to say, I'm going to be working at Frontline someday. You could be that bold. I double dog dare you. Red Bull. Red Bull is pretty clear about their brand, wouldn't you guys say? What are they clear about? They live on the edge. Who said that? That is exactly what they do. It's all about living on the edge. As they get people to represent their brand, they're clear. They want people that are risk takers, that are living on the edge. Usually, is it a younger audience or an older audience? Younger. One of the tabs on their website is holy shit. Excuse me, sisters, I don't mean to cuss in your presence, but that, I mean, who could get away with a tab on their website that says holy, you know, right? Red Bull, because they're clear about their brand. And when you go to the holy shit tab on their brand, it's like this crazy video of some dude snowboarding backcountry, and he's like, and there's a movie coming out, and that's their brand. That's what they stand for. It's consistent. They sponsor the X Games. Now they don't even sponsor the X Games. They have their own games. They've come up with Red Bull events. That's how consistent they are. Constancy is the third C. You need to be constant with it. And we're going to talk here about how you become constant with it. Your Facebook page and your bio, your LinkedIn page. And if you haven't heard of, raise your hand if you have not heard of LinkedIn. Okay, good. It's good. I'm so glad that you're here. Amen. God bless you. I'm so glad you're here because you need to know about LinkedIn. That is a great place for you to get connected. Shane could do a search for people that work at Frontline. There might even be a group on LinkedIn that says, hey, if you work at Frontline, join this group. And they might post events and conversations. Shane's writing that down. LinkedIn, Frontline group. But now he could start to participate with those people and maybe find a blog that one of them writes and maybe make a comment on the blog. So Red Bull is an example of a company that uses the 3 C's of branding, okay? What did she say? She gave us a great quote. Express yourself. Don't repress yourself. And that's really what this branding's all about. Don't push it inside. Don't think, oh, I'm boring. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say anyway. That is just a big fat lie. We do want to hear what you have to say. Don't you want to hear what makes these people unique, Mayor? Aren't you so excited about that? And you guys can go to your career service counselors now and say, help me figure this out. I'm working on this. I need some encouragement of how do I get there, because they know this stuff inside and out. So then you're going to think about your communications wheel. How might you start to get your brand out? Now, these are just some ideas. Some of these will work for some of you and some won't, okay? You might decide to start writing articles. Shane, tell me what job you want again? Film journalist. So you might write an article about what it means to be a film journalist and why you're excited about that. And you might publish it. There's different websites out on the internet that you can just submit articles to. So it just goes out to different PR, public relations companies, and they might grab your article. So once you're clear about what you stand for and what you want to say it. Say it, sisters. Try saying something. Now, yes, it's risky because